Hey YouTubers, the light's really cool right now. The sun's just coming through the window. You see it? See? Oh, my hand. Like and share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, this is a follow-up video from our last video. Kind of the point of this video is that trust breaks down when communication breaks down. That's pretty obvious, right? Because usually when communication breaks down, people assume that somebody's hiding something, right? Or whatever. This is normal. Happens a lot in our society, right? Now, that directly connects with the last video. I asked for some feedback in the video, and thank you for user whatever it is that was that commented that said that I helped you make your brain hurt, and, and then you gave some pointed advice about love, right? And you're right. And actually, that whole video that I was talking about when it comes to spiritual awakenings, it's about love, loving of the self and loving of other people. And all of that has to do with communicating with people in the present, which is directly related to the other subjects I was talking about, how if we're not present, we're communicating with each other in our minds that could be attached to something that happened in the past or a potential future that we believe is potential, but you're not actually communicating now, right? So you're not using that energy in the now to just create and use your imagination to create from a relationship, right? Music is very powerful for that reason. A lot of musicians love to get together and just write music together because you're just with your friends, just creating, right? You're not focusing on something that someone did in the past or didn't do in the past, and you're not focusing on some kind of potential terrible outcome or some other potential outcome in the future. You're just staying present and just letting the spirit flow, right? This has everything to do with why our society is going through what it's going through, right? Disparages and how much money people make in businesses create conflicts, and it creates conflicts because people, that survival response of fear of what you're not going to have enough tomorrow, or maybe what somebody did because of that in the past, causes dysfunction in those relationships, especially in business. The same thing can happen in interpersonal relationships, right? Let's say I'm not get along with somebody, and just friends or family, and then they just start to assume that I think about them under a certain light because A, B, and C, right? Maybe I didn't go to an outing, or I didn't go to a meeting that we had, or I didn't do this or that. So instead of communicating, say, hey, why didn't you show up? Or just not even assuming anything, right? It's best not to assume anything about anybody. And then the next time you're there, communicating, grounded state, making sure that and if you can feel like somebody is holding maybe a little bit of resentment about something, or for whatever reason, then you can address that stuff, right? Because you can feel their energy getting pulled into the past. Or we're always talking about a vertical power cord. And so anytime that the third eye wanders, right, from the mouth the heart speaks, anytime the third eye wanders, it can manifest itself in a whole array of different, what you will see in their energetic profile, of what kind of energy they're receiving, because then the way that they view the world will get twisted around, and that's what comes in from the bottom side of their biofield. Everybody's pretty complex, right? If you see somebody who's actively moving out of 100% of their brain, and they're just popping in and out of three-dimensional reality, they've mastered themselves to quite a degree, right? They're able to read their environment correctly. But if you're not able to read your environment correctly, usually it's false perceptions, right? The reality is picture everybody as a point of awareness that has a different energetic signature depending on how grounded they are in the present. When they talk about Christ consciousness and a picture of Christ consciousness, that picture of that lit up vertical power column where it's lit from top to bottom, That's somebody who's just in the field, feeling everything that the field's doing at that time. They're not worried about tomorrow, not even thinking about tomorrow. Although, if you're connected with the field, interestingly enough, you'll see it'll spread out before you. Past and the future spreads out before you. This is why, Jesus is able to give forecasts in the Bible about what's going to happen. I mean, he forecasted the fall of the Roman Empire in 70 AD. He forecasted all of it because you get connected to your higher self, right? You start pulling higher parts of yourself because you're lightening up your vertical power column. If you're 100% present, you'll start to feel more of the field, pulling into your to the present moment. So I recently started a group, and to basically empower other groups to be co-creative together. Now, everything starts with the individual. Doesn't matter what you're talking about, and it all starts with communication. How well you're communicating your needs within the group. If your needs aren't being met and you're not communicating them, they won't be met. First need is communication. If you're not communicating, then everything else breaks down. You can't work from a place where you're not communicating. If you're not communicating your higher self, you don't know your higher self is what information your higher self is giving you to communicate with the people around you. So if you're trying to start a co-creative project and there's parts of it that aren't communicating, that will be a resistance to the flow of energy for that project. Let's say maybe those individuals are, let's say they're worried about how well they're being accepted in the group, or they're worried about the potential outcome of what you're doing. All of those fears manifest on communication. You just stop communicating with the other because there's a fear of something, or even a resentment of maybe a way that they felt like they were treated. When in fact, we all attract relationships and people in our lives that give us feedback about how we're viewing ourselves and how we're projecting that to other people. I hope this is helping you guys. I mean, the reason that people get on tarot card, especially reader channels, is to get a little bit of feedback about how they're feeling about themselves, right? Excuse me. Pardon me. Right, because you're, or just to get some daily motivation. A lot of people love the daily motivation. Sometimes I'll click onto readers' channels because a lot of times people are picking up stuff from the field, and it's good to get information from other people. But self-examination is always the best course, right? You're always taking the time to meditate and examining how you're feeling about yourself and other people, and and how you're communicating how other people are responding to whatever it is that you're doing, right? Because if you're doing something or not doing something and not communicating, then you're just as much to blame as the people who aren't communicating with you as to what they need or what they want to do, right? Yeah. It's, relationships are simple. It's all about communication. Yesterday, but sometimes, you just want to take some time off. Just blah, blah, blah. You don't owe anybody anything. If you need some time to rest, like yesterday was a rest day for me. I didn't make any videos. I didn't do nothing. I just rested. Did some work around the house, cooked, made some coleslaw, just stuff, right? Today is Monday. Today is a work day. So today I am in communication mode. You have to communicate what your needs, and then see how well that gets communicated from your environment. If there's no communication that comes back, then a lot of times people are potentially, not necessarily, right? You don't want to assume anything, but potentially somebody might be holding on to something, or maybe unsure of something. And so, you know, and if they are continue, if you keep reaching out and they're unable to keep communicating, then eventually you gotta kind of let that go, right? I mean, why would you keep forcing yourself on somebody continually and then they just, it doesn't make sense, right? Doesn't matter who it is. Friends, family, whatever. So, going back to the last video, and that's all about love, right? I know that sounds like I'm trying to make love complex, but knowledge of the self is the only thing that really matters. And you're always going to be able to communicate in the field as long as you're grounded, centered. If you're too worried about what somebody thinks about you or doesn't think about you or this or that, I mean, there's a million different things that people get worried about and are afraid of, but that keeps them from communicating. And you're not communicating directly and in a grounded state with somebody else whenever you're, feel like you're getting pulled in one of those directions, right? When you're out of the present or out of oneness with each other. That happens, right? So what else do I have to say about that? I think I'll leave this open conversation with you guys. Team development is really interesting because team development is all about the individual, and then people place themselves in different positions within team environments depending on how they feel about themselves. I've witnessed it my entire life. I've worked with so many different people. I've probably worked with well over 1,000 people, and I just naturally kind of fall into just, hey, what do you need? Because I've been blessed in, certain things, but then I still have had to work on other things, right? We all have individual things that we need to work on where that creates the beliefs that we have as well. I have had to go back and think about my old, some of the beliefs that I have believed in even for starting this project, because I've realized that you can't really apply a structure to a group of people that aren't ready for that structure, right? People can't work together as groups without a leader there when they're not ready, when they're not self-directed and leading themselves, and they're not able to communicate well, right? When if they're too worried about money, or they're too worried about this or that, or afraid of breaking trust agreements, all of those fears and anxieties come around, will manifest themselves, and then somebody has to come in and either communicate the issues that are going on, those underlying issues within the group, because they'll be, like I said in the last video, they'll actually be non-physical entities that are pulling off of wasted energy. And then it's in that non-physical entity's interest to lie to that person, right? I mean, even the things that you think sometimes that we think that we tell ourselves could potentially even be a non-physical entity telling us a story to make us feel like something out there is against us, right? That's usually the story. It's like that thing out there is trying to get you. So you need to think that it's trying to get you. And then in the reality is it could be the same non-physical entity in that other awareness saying the same thing to it. So it's just creating like this, right? That's why money exists. Money wouldn't exist if that wasn't the case, right? It just wouldn't exist. If all of us were 100% present all the time, everybody you meet, and we were communicating flawlessly with each other, just bang like that, then, I mean, you'd be living on heaven and on earth, right? That's the picture of heaven on earth. It's like, it's another state of the field. You're no longer, time is irrelevant. Time becomes irrelevant because you're present. You're fully present. You're not trying to protect yourself for tomorrow or trying to protect yourself from anybody else. I don't know what else to say about this. And then we would no longer have kids, starving and things like that. My heart really goes out to places that suffer because the fear rate is so high there. And you see it, right? I mean, Africa, you've got roaming bands of people that are attacking one another and buying up property and keeping people, just doing things for just purely self-interest, afraid of giving too much of themselves away to other people it is what it is, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of a lot of things that happen in other countries, but the deeper roots behind it, it's all generational trauma and the people trying to protect themselves, not understanding that there's nothing to we're just a point of awareness, right? That's moving more and more information in the field. Never dies. We don't ever die. So, love you guys. I will pull an oracle card just because. I just want to get this out this morning. This is a trust thing, right? This has to do with trusting yourself and trusting yourself to communicate and being present. We need to be present. Yeah. Be fearless. All right, be fearless. There's nothing to be afraid of. That's a perfect card for this, right? Be fearless. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're just communicating. And the more fearless you are, the more you'll be able to communicate. If you're afraid of anything, then you'll be able to communicate less. Yesterday, I was supposed to go golfing with my brother yesterday, and I just didn't feel like doing anything today. So I communicated. I was like, sorry, I was sleeping on the couch when you called, and I was in rest mode. I love the days that I can take where I can get super just into my deepest meditative states and try and examine how present I am in the moment. Where's my mind going, right? Right at that level before you go to sleep. Like, where's my mind going? What am I experiencing in the present? Usually it's not connected with any single person or place or thing. Usually it just goes into la la land. I don't know about the rest of you, but yeah. Anyway, I'll stop this video. You guys are probably going to watch me. Anyway, have a great day. Make a comment and, what is love to you guys? What do you guys, love is about communicating, how you feel, how you love the people around you. Encourage them not to be afraid. That we're all going to the same place. This, what we're going through in the group collective, this is all part of a process to stay more grounded. And unfortunately, a lot of people, this is always going to be the way it is. And this is why you're seeing what you're seeing. The people that are grounded are always in service to the people that are not grounded. Always. You're always pulling somebody into the grounded state in the present if they're worried about tomorrow. Because, eventually, like, if you're worried about something, those worries will start to manifest and you'll just keep creating a more ugly reality for yourself as fears start to manifest. And you'll constantly you'll be looking for a lifeboat. Somebody who's not living that way. Somebody who's in the grounded state, who's trying to, stay conscious and aware. So, yeah. Love you guys. Have a great day, and we'll catch you later.